Hello, this is S Figure Reviews, and in this review, as you can see, I am looking at the Marvel Legends Infinity Saga Wave 1 Surtur. That's right, Surtur, the MCU Surtur from Thor Ragnarok, voiced by Clancy Brown. We know him as the father of all cataclysms, the fire giant, the god of fire, the god of flame, the flame giant, the flame Colossus, the inventor of flame, the Lord of Ragnarok, Surtur, the fire giant himself, in MCU action figure form. This is the only Surtur we have in any action figure form, I believe. So let's have a look at the packaging. And yeah, I got this secondhand. So I found this on eBay for a really good price. It's a character that I've wanted in my collection for a long time and been trying to find a good price for it. But here's the box. It's about 15 inches. It's a massive box. You can see the array of accessories right here in this window. Infinity Saga, Surtur, Marvel Studios, Thor Ragnarok. On the back, we get this little bio for Surtur as well, along with the main marketing poster for Thor Ragnarok. Looking at Surtur now, because we don't have the figures box, he looks amazing. I love the details. That head sculpt, man, that head sculpt is beautiful. I do wish, though, my one flaw with the head sculpt is I wish he had a movable jaw, because he's only got this angry yelling expression. If I factor in the price point, if this was sold in 2021, this released in 2021, keep that in mind, at $120 Australian, I would have loved another head sculpt at least. The sculpt of the body is absolutely amazing as well. I mean, the different plastics, it's a little strange that they've gone for a bunch of different plastics, especially as you'll notice in the articulation. The torso is completely different to the arms, and the legs is completely different to the arms and the torso. However, the sculpt, though, the design work is beautiful. The paint is really solid on how it's just been applied. Just the subtle little flame details here and there. The scorched charcoaling, especially on the front of the figure. On the back, not so much, but it's really nice. The mix of orange plastic with the yellow and black sprays, really nice. And something I've got to comment on is that the MCU figures generally got a lot of upgraded articulation before a lot of comic figures. Now it's the exact opposite. You can see that through Surtur that Hasbro was trying to incorporate the diaphragm and inverted torso system, taking notes from the DC Direct DC Collectibles line DC Icons before it shut down. But I love all the details, even the feet, just everything is so nicely done. I guess, yeah, the flaw of this figure is, so far visually, is not enough stuff on the back. Just not enough paint on the back of the arms and the legs primarily. But also, you're going to see now this leg problem. And I don't know if this is all Surtur figures. From when I was doing my own research, it generally has this. And it reminds me of the Controller Build-A-Figure, where the legs aren't really in a neutral stance. Sort of a star jump position, if you think of it that way. Like an X, right? That's how the legs are kind of forming, and you try to press them, and, well, they just spring back. Another thing I'll have to say about this figure that we'll see in articulation is he struggles to stand because the different plastics that are used for this figure, they've gone for a similar plastic like the double joint arms in the legs. And because he's so top heavy, he struggles to stand. So do keep that in mind. It gets a little frustrating, but he is worth the frustrations. At least appearance-wise. Accessory-wise, he doesn't come with much. Let's think back to 2021. If I'm thinking $120 retail, 60 USD around that, for the price, you don't get that many accessories. You get this odd set of hands, which is an open displayed hand, sort of a clawish hand, and a fist. And you get this awesome sword. Beautiful detail in this sword. Like the hands, his right grabbing hand is on a vertical hinge, and the rest of the hands are on a horizontal hinge. But just not thinking about that. Think about the sword again. I just started, and I love the colors, just the details. It is chipping mine just because it is secondhand, which I'm okay with because I'm most likely going to have Surtur displayed with the sword anyway. But just the different sort of crimson, reds, and maroons used. And the fact that this sword is almost as tall as Surtur. I think, I did not measure the sword, but I'm thinking it's about 10 or 11 inches. It's massive. But for the price point, that's not many accessories, really. What would I have loved? An extra head? That would have been nice, well appreciated for playability. And if it was just a stern head, or if Surtur here had an articulated jaw, or, I mean, I kind of consider this the beginning of what we call Hasbro Marvel Legends odd hand syndrome. So blame Surtur for that. I would also just want to say, watch out for the quality of this clip right now, because I wanted to test him in the dark, so I recorded this segment at night. What I kind of didn't talk about in the appearance section was how this is sort of an orange plastic. It's used as the base, right? Or an orange-red, sort of a flame-colored plastic, and how if you shine a light through it, if you were able to try and get this guy displayed and you want to just leave some sort of light on him at night, something cheap that you could just charge back up, like a USB-C charge thing, and plug it onto Surtur in some way, you'd have him glowing like absolutely just like his comic form. I really think you actually would get some really nice photos if you were able to try and figure out how to attach a light to him and have it just stay on and just angle it around different parts of his body, especially in the head and the torso. It looks magnificent, it looks scary, and would be an absolute focal point in your collection. Something else I do want to point out is that because the sword is a bit top heavy, and again, the different qualities of plastics in this figure, he does struggle to hold his sword. You definitely would need to have him with both hands on the sword. You can see it just tilting under its own weight. In terms of reference art, this captures a really good look, a good glimpse at the MCU Surtur from Thor Ragnarok back in 2017, I believe. Definitely the MCU depiction of Surtur is more ashy, darker, whereas this figure is actually much brighter with the plastics that they've chosen. And I think I would have liked a bit more paint for it to be a bit darker, but it looks really good nonetheless, and it's almost on par to this MCU design. This last image here, or last section of images, middle and the right image are actually some of his latest depictions. The middle image is from the Beta Ray Bill miniseries, and from the recent Thor 800, I believe, from the Mortal Thor. This is what Surtur now looks like in the comics. And you can see how the design has absolutely changed, and you can easily put this into a comic display. But also, Surtur's size, he can control that. He doesn't have to be completely big. We see in figure form here it's 13 inches, and Surtur is able to manipulate his size. So it does not matter. If you try to argue with me, oh, he has to be so much bigger. No, he doesn't. He has changed his size throughout all the comics he's been part of. Let's jump to Articulation now, and he looks up really decently, got really good head tilt. It is a ball joint, it's not a neck peg, so the ball joint is plugged into a sculpted neck. He can look down pretty decently. Now, where you're going to see some problems is his arms. So his arms can do a full 360 rotation. He does have bicep swivel, double joint arms, but you see the limitation here when you're trying to spread them out, because basically the shoulders have got this big sculpt in them, this ashy sculpt, as you can kind of see, that's hindering the joint. So it is a bit of a letdown in terms of the articulation of this figure. Definitely hinders his movement if you plan on using Surtur with a sword. As stated in accessories as well, but prior, one of his hands is on a vertical hinge, one of his hands is on a horizontal hinge, and the accessory hands, horizontal hinge. He has really good diaphragm movement, really good side to side, really decent forward and back, and the inverted ab is really good. It does get a little loose, and again, that's because of the plastics that they've used. So just do keep that in mind. He can kick really far forward, a little bit back, has weird spread out leg syndrome. He does have a thigh cut, which is a bit strange. It is very stiff, so maybe try and heat it up if you can with a hairdryer or with some hot water. Double jointed pinless legs. He cannot kick his own bum, but he's very close to. He does have these sort of lower foot cuts. Along with that, he has basically no ankle pivot. It's so stiff, there's basically nothing. His foot can move forward and back, so you do get a lot of movement out of that area except the ankle pivot, but really it's so loose, and Surtur is so top heavy because it's different plastics that it's only going to really work if you have him in a normal position, or if you maybe have him crouched and he's kind of relying mainly on his knees. So now we go to size comparisons. Again, he's 13 inches. And I thought that this McFarlane DC Multiverse Swamp Thing, I thought it was 14 inches. It's actually 12. These two are officially my tallest collectible action figures. And yeah, we're starting off with McFarlane DC Multiverse. So here we have Planet Rand Swamp Thing, which is my go-to one because I can't find a green one. And we have my favorite standard release McFarlane figure, the DC Multiverse Platinum Edition Question. So how about some more sculpts from 2021 Hasbro Marvel Legends? Here is my favorite Marvel Legends figure of all time, MODOK. And we have Grizzly here, which is a 2026 release, but the body is 2021 Build-A-Figure Ursa Major from the Iron Man wave. And we have possibly my favorite Iron Man figure, the modular armor. You can see that Iron Man basically is dwarfed by Surtur and these other figures, but also how Iron Man just reaches his leg. But yeah, this was an interesting lineup of figures, and 2021, like MODOK is my favorite Marvel Legends figure, my favorite Marvel villain. He looks so good here. 2021 offered us so many amazing sculpts, brand new sculpts, and single sculpts for characters such as MODOK and Surtur here. And Iron Man, we've had a good few reuses out of this modular armor, and this is the second reuse of the Ursa Major body. Next up, for an MCU comparison, of course we've got to compare the big bad of Thor Ragnarok, Hela, the goddess of death. And I do not own an MCU Thor, so this is what we're going to just compare it to. And yeah, she scales really well with him. The details on both these figures are amazing. However, I've got her on a McFarlane stand because she is showing her age. She's struggling to stand. Maybe there aren't that many Hela fans, but we definitely need a new comic version of Hela, even if it's the current rendition of her, which is the Queen in Black. Next up, comparing Surtur to definitely some smaller characters here. Here we have Jean Grey in her X-Factor version 1 suit, the green and yellows. Here we have Constrictor from Secret Wars Wave 2 on the Vulcan caped figure body because he's got a hole in his back. Here we have possibly the best Marvel Legends figure of 2026 from Secret Wars Wave 2, Daredevil. Suck it, scalpers. And finally, because X-Men 97 wrapped up, rest in peace in the X-Men 97 universe for now, Nightcrawler. This is the Nightcrawler from the Wendigo Build-A-Figure wave back in 2019, who still holds up despite having pins. And yeah, you can just see how Surtur dwarfs these figures, but also how well 2021 Marvel Legends hold up and possibly are better than ones we're getting in 2026, and even ones from 2025, and how also this Kurt Wagner, this Nightcrawler from 2019, is still really good. Just how the Hasbro Marvel Legends market is just so unpredictable. You could get good figures and bad figures. I digress, we're moving on. For some Thor, frenemies, and rogues, here we have the recent Scourge Build-A-Figure Scourge the Executioner from late 2025, and we have the reissued Ulik, who is one of my favorite villain figures from Marvel Legends, just top 10. I absolutely love this guy. Next up, we have to bring in the one who is worthy and the one who is the Thunder God. We have Beta Ray Bill from the Endgame Hulk Build-A-Figure wave in his modern Guardians of the Galaxy attire. And we have the 80th anniversary Thor here, which is my main Thor. And I only have comic versions of Thor, so this is what you're really getting from me. And they look really good. Again, Surtur, since actually Beta Ray Bill's miniseries back in 2023, has looked very similar to this MCU version. And the recent Thor comic, the recent Mortal Thor 800, that is a panel of one of the last pages, if not the last page of the book, with Surtur looking so similar to this. But this is a great reason as to why you should get this guy if you are wanting to build out your Asgardian display, your Cosmic display, and you want a figure centerpiece. This could be it. Finally, let's compare Surtur to some other lines. Is it really going to make a difference? Like, he's going to dwarf them anyway. But here we have Blocky's Elmo. We have from Mattel, Masters of the Universe, Revelations, Netflix show. I think it's been rebranded as the Chronicles line, but here we have Merman. We have Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, Wave 1, Creeper. This is my favorite J Toys figure. And we have from Star Wars Black Series, Greg the Carbonized Stormtrooper. So what are my final thoughts on this guy? I absolutely love him. Look, he's got his flaws. Definitely his legs are such a problem. Figure stands aren't going to help because of how loose his lower leg joints, his feet joints are. Apart from that, for a big guy, he poses really well. The details are beautiful, amazing, just simple sword poses look magnificent, and I know my photos aren't going to do him justice, so I apologize. Under different lightings, he looks really good. With a light actually ported into his back or into his head, it looks marvelous. My final rating for this guy is going to be a 7.5 out of 10. Obviously, as you can kind of hear, I think this is a really good figure, but there are frustrations, and it's the legs. You can't really get away from that problem. Now, I think as well, he has amazing details. Like, the head sculpt is so eye-catching. I do wish maybe he had a movable jaw. That would have been really good. He's still superposable. Double-jointed arms. The inverted ab system is really solid. He's compatible with a variety of 1/12 and 1/11 scale lines. He is compatible with stands, so action figure stands. Like McFarlane has those black stands that comes with the DC figures. They will plug into either his feet. Do not try and get this guy on a flight stand, please. You can have a broken stand. He weighs quite a bit. You're just going to get a broken stand out of it. But the details are amazing. That sword, though, is also awesome. If he had better accessories, I would definitely give this an 8 out of 10. For 2021, $120 Australian, that's a lot. I paid under $50 and I think I got my value there. I do blame Surtur here for what we have in 2025 and 2026 as modern Hasbro odd hand syndrome. The arms aren't exactly great. They cannot spread out because of the sculpt, which is such a shame. And there isn't really enough paint, I think, on the back of his legs primarily. I don't think for a long time we're going to get a comic Surtur. And by comic Surtur, I have a feeling that Hasbro would reattempt a 60s or 70s style Surtur where he kind of looked like a fire demon with a red body. Think of Hellboy, but his face is on fire primarily. I also don't like the fact that we have different types of plastic being used. I wish they just picked one type and applied the same amount of amazing detail here. But I will say that, yeah, for a big guy, the articulation's impressive. And this is a figure that does not sacrifice that much articulation to give us this glorious, beautiful design work, this detail for a fire demon, the flame Colossus himself, Surtur. If you're a big Thor fan, I would highly recommend this. If you are an MCU collector or you're starting to build out your MCU display, this is a beautiful figure, and honestly, the lower the price, the better the value, I think. And if you're a comic collector, this is just a must get because I don't know if we're going to get another Surtur for a very long time. My final rating notes are all here, so you can have a read if you're interested in just getting my thoughts on what I think are the pros and cons. And coming up on the channel, I am going to be reviewing the Iron Man Retro Card Blister Card Wave Whiplash from 2024, as I was able to get him on clearance for a really good price. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in trying to build out your comic displays and you're on the fence of getting this guy. So there you go. This is the end of the Marvel Legends 2021 Surtur the Fire God Deluxe action figure review by S Figure Reviews. I've rated him again a 7.5 out of 10, and you can read my notes as to why. So, if you like this content, please share it to anyone who's on the fence of getting this guy, who's waited 5 years and want to find a good price for him. Please send them this review as to possibly the faults and the positives of getting this guy. If you want to hear a second opinion that isn't flooding your For You page, that isn't flooding your algorithm, then I'm the person. I'm new to the YouTube cyberspace. I have a new channel. I'm building out my action figure review library, and you can go check them out right now at S Figure Reviews. Thanks for supporting the content. Thanks for liking. Thanks for possibly sharing. And if you are wanting to subscribe, thanks for subscribing. No memberships, none of that. I don't believe in that stuff. I'm reviewing action figures because I have a personal love for them, and I'm not going to get stuff just for the sake of it. This has been S Figure Reviews. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the Marvel Legends 2024 Classic Whiplash review coming soon to S Figure Reviews.